This is the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
Brought to you by Lee Health.
Southwest Florida, welcome to another edition of Lee Pitts Live. We are here at Barrett and Azupke, attorneys at law firm, and we have the ladies here, charter members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. 50 years here in Lee County. The Alumnae chapters right here on Lee Pitts Live. And we also get a chance to talk to the owners of this law firm as well. All that's happening on Lee Pitts Live. We'll be right back. Southwest Florida, I am so thrilled. This is the #1 show in the history of Lee Pitts Live. We've interviewed over 8,000 people over the last 27 years. And now I get a chance to talk to some historic figures in our community, founding charter members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Fort Myers Alumni Chapter, are here today. I'll start off with 3, and then we'll go to a break and we'll talk to 2 more of these charter members. Ladies, welcome to Lee Pitts Live.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been 50 years or more that you 3 have been in the sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, and really have changed Southwest Florida for the better. I'm going to ask each of you to tell me one of your most fond memories of being in a sorority. Let's start with you, Dr. Ann Knight, one of your most fond memories of being in a sorority.
Oh, I have so many fun things, but one I could say about getting the young women in the area, members of Delta Sigma Theta. It was very rejoicing to get that completed.
Excellent. And you, Marie?
I have a couple of things that I'm very fond of. First, of being able to get a local chapter in Lee County. When I first moved here, there was no chapter. I was traveling from this area to Tampa every month just to be in a chapter. And I finally got tired of it and started doing the paperwork to get a chapter here. So I would say that would be the fondest memory I have.
Okay.
But I'm also fond of the fact that I was able to serve as the first advisor of the Tau Sigma chapter at Florida Gulf Coast University. And the final thing, I guess you say you asked for one, but I'm giving you
Go
3,
ahead.
Was when I was named the Alumni Member of the Year for the Southern region.
I see. Well, you really
So-
got some accolades there.
Yeah.
Jerry, before we get your fondest memory, I know that's a broad question. Tell us, what was it like in 1965 in Southwest Florida, Fort Myers, Lee County, for some dynamic black women to want to step out and start a sorority?
Fort Myers was very, very segregated.
At the time?
Yes.
Still
and
is, but let's go.
still is, but it is progressing. We got to be optimistic. Fort Myers was filled with young people that were goal-oriented. They knew the challenge was there, that they wanted to do better. And they sought out to do better. A lot of us went to colleges not knowing how we were going to stay there, didn't have any apprehension about going because we had our eyes on the ultimate prize, and that was to be able to become educated and come back to a segregated community and make a difference in that community, because we know education will assist you in doing so.
And most of you are, pretty much all of you now are professionals. All the young ladies who come after you are professionals, and many of them in the education field, aren't they?
A variety. We have a variety of people, educators, attorneys, people in medical fields, just variety. We have a variety of people in our organization because we're all professional, educated women.
Now, Dr. Knight, not only are you a 50-year member of the founding of one of the charter members, you also have a daughter
Yes.
who went on to become a member of that same chapter that you founded. What was that like for you to see Sybil become a Delta?
I was very, very pleased, very pleased. And she not only just helped that goal, she's gone on to do other things in the sorority.
And she's a doctor as well.
Yes, she's a doctor as well.
Now, when you look, Marie, when you look at the progress and all the different ladies who come through your sorority, who are going to continue to come through the sorority, had you not thought about the vision of starting a sorority in this area, none of those things would have come to pass. When you sit back now, being 50 years now, and looking back at all the great things that have happened, what does that do for you personally?
Personally, that makes me very, very proud. Like you say, I never would have thought that many young ladies would have come this way. A lot of them got inspiration from Delta, but because of other reasons, they went other ways. But that still doesn't matter. They're doing better.
Jerry, we're sitting here on TV right now talking about sorority as though everybody, thousands of people who are looking at this show knows exactly what Delta Sigma Theta sorority is. Tell them what it is.
Well, Lee, before I get there, I want to share with you my fondest memories.
Oh,
and
I didn't
I
get
have
that.
a variety. No,
Okay.
I wasn't given that question. One of my fondest memories is when my granddaughter became a Delta. And my sorors here, many of them traveled to Tampa, to USF, to watch her become a true Delta legacy.
Okay.
Yes,
Should we get
Jakara
that in?
Ware is now in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
So now, your question was about the sorority. Delta is an organization that is very much public center oriented. Christ came to serve, not to be served. Delta Sigma Theta picks up that same mantra. We are here to serve our community. And when we do that, it's because we are Christian women trying to make our community better.
That's great. Now,
And we do that because we have what we call the 5-point thrust.
okay.
And those 5 things allows us to take our idiosyncrasies and be good in whatever that we do. Like for instance, political, social, and political. That's one of our 5-point thrusts. And that's near and dear to me. Physical and mental health.
That's an
near and dear to me.
understatement. Political. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was about to say. When we take those education, social and political, physical and mental health, have to think of my other two.
International.
Say it again?
International.
Oh, international, yes, because we are an international organization. We reach way out. And we're very large. And we're the largest, I believe, the largest female organization, sorority,
In the nation.
in the nation.
In the world.
In the world.
In the world.
Okay. Now back to you, Marie. When you look into the future here locally, and a lot of the things that you guys have accomplished, 10 years from now, you guys are going to have other goals that you want to accomplish here locally. What are some things that you, when you look up 10 years from now, you hope you guys would have done some more here locally?
10 years from now, I hope the organization really focus on our 5-point programmatic thrust. And in focusing on that thrust, I hope that they are able to reach into the community and get more community involvement rather than self-serving type activities. I think many times we do things and we simply end up serving ourselves. But I really hope and pray that we get out of the idea of if we do that, we want to satisfy ourselves. We need to do something to satisfy the world.
Okay. Dr. Knight, the 50 years or more, a golden legacy of sisterhood, leadership, and service. Golden legacy of sisterhood, leadership, and service. You have been a leader of the highest order, one of the first African Americans to be elected to Fort Myers City Council. You did so much for the city of Fort Myers. Even to this day, they've actually named the Stars Complex the Dr. Ann Knight Stars Complex. Would you say that your membership in Delta Sigma sorority was an integral part of your leadership development skills?
I would want to believe so. I know it is, and I'm very pleased about that. And it had a part in all the educational surroundings that I can think of.
The education has always been big to you. You're a retired educator.
Right.
When Jerry Webb talks about your 5-point thrust, within each one of those, education is important.
Part of right. And you know, and I like to say now, many citizens may not know it, but my daughter is a superintendent of schools in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which she got her beginning here in Fort Myers.
Mm-hmm. How is Fort Myers, Marie, how is Fort Myers Alumni Chapter viewed on the national scale? Does the Deltas in other places look at Fort Myers? Because I'm so impressed with Fort Myers Alumni Chapter. Do they know the great work that you guys are doing down here and sort of point to you from time to time as their role models?
Yes, they do. In fact, years back, they used to come to us for advice on setting up nonprofit organizations within their chapters. And for different types of projects we were doing, they were trying to get ideas from little old Fort Myers.
That's something.
Yep.
No more little Fort Myers.
Yep.
Jerry, we have some events that we want the public to know about that's going to continue with your 50-year celebration and getting on into the new year. December marks the 50-year anniversary. But going on to the 2018, there's some other events that the sorority will be putting on.
Okay, Lee, may I go back to a previous question? Deltas are pioneers. If you were to Google us, you will find Deltas were there the first. We're very much pioneers. If you look back in the history of Fort Myers, our sorority sister here was the first female sorority person on the city council. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Currently, we have a sorority sister on the city council. But I'm just saying we are pioneers all over the world. That's what we are trailblazers. And that's why we had to get ourselves break away from our beginning, because we were too progressive to just sit idle by. So I wanted to bring that in. I would like to announce that the pursuing year, the incoming year, we will be having 3 events, and we welcome you to come, and we hope that you will come. Our Miss Jabberwock will be held February the 10th at the Carrie Robinson Center, where we present young ladies, okay? The next event is 50 Years and More Luncheon that will be held June the 16th, and this will be at the Crown Plaza, and there will be more information for you later. And of course, December the 18th, 50 Years Community Hope Project will be April the 21st, 2018. That's 50 Years Community Hope Project, April the 21st, 2018, with more information.
Okay, and if anybody needs update on that, just go to Lee Pitts Live Facebook page, website. Also, the Delta Sigma Theta Alumni Chapter in Fort Myers has a website as well. Yeah. Well, ladies, it's been a pleasure and an honor for me to be here with you guys 50 years. I'm glad that God blessed me to be able to create a television show years ago, and it was created for this particular purpose. See?
Yeah.
Everything happens for a purpose. Yes. And now we're able to document this on television. And I didn't know at the time, 27 years ago, when I was creating Lee Pitts Live, it was to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Delta Sigma Theta Alumni Chapter.
Yeah. The pioneers. The pioneers.
We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to some more ladies who are part of that charter member chapter back in December 18, 1965. I was 5 years old. You guys can do the math. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Southwest Florida. We're at Barrett and Zupke Attorneys at Law Firm. And here in this building, historical figures have arrived from Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Alumnae chapter here in Fort Myers, now celebrating 50 years of making our community a better place to be. This segment, we get a chance to talk to two more Deltas, Annette Booker and Constance Davis. Ladies, welcome to this Lee Pitts Live.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, one of the things you guys said to me off campus is that you, off camera, is that you watch Lee Pitts Live all the time. You know that makes me feel so honored to know that I got some ladies with the red coats watching my television show who are graduates of Bethune-Cookman College. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Speaking of Bethune-Cookman, both of you went to Bethune-Cookman. Is
Yes.
it fair to say that 50 years ago, most African Americans who went to college in this area, they went to Bethune-Cookman? Let's start right here. Let's start here.
I am not from this area. I'm from a little town north of Tampa, but I went to Bethune-Cookman College at the time because they offered me a scholarship.
I see.
And I had visited the campus and I saw the sororities doing their activities and I was very impressed.
Okay.
I was also impressed because it was Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune's school.
And she's a Delta as well?
She's a Delta,
Honorary.
Well,
Honorary.
okay.
Delta.
honorary, and she died the summer before I arrived on campus. And I was very impressed by the fact that Dr. Bethune's name was very prevalent around the campus.
Speaking of that now, Marie, who was here in the first part, she said that the reason she became a Delta is because of you. She told you that right in front of me. How does that make you feel to know that you had an impact on her?
It's true because she's told me this before, and,
Okay.
and I am impressed by her because of the leadership that she has shown our chapter getting it formed. Because when I arrived in Fort Myers in 1959, as you can see, there was no chapter, and it took us 6 years to get that chapter started, and Marie played a big part in that.
The Constance, both of you went to Bethune-Cookman. Were you there at the same time?
No, we were not.
Tell us about what your fond memories are early on joining the sorority in undergrad.
It was in 1966. Sorum Accord and I were delegates to the regional conference in Alabama. And I remember we went to, on our way, we picked up two sorors in Sarasota. And years later, when I was recruited to Sarasota, I was able to reunite with those sorors. So that is one of my fondest memories. But I have so many because in the early years, I was right there with Soror Accord. I had just finished college. I was the youngest of the group. And I heard you talking to one of the other sorors about leadership. And as I reflect on those years, I'm sure that's where I learned my leadership skills, listening to those sorors and taking in every word that they were saying are just fond memories.
And both of you went on to become principals. I want people to know that.
I was an assistant principal for a number of years. Started out at Estero High as a dean. They changed the title. I responded positively and I was promoted, and then they changed the names. Came back to Fort Myers at Fort Myers High. I retired there and as an assistant principal, but I did never reach the goal of a principal. That was not my aim. I was focused on the community service of our chapter at the time.
Right. I was a principal in Fort Worth, Texas, and I was recruited to Sarasota, and I was a principal in Sarasota for about 30 years. So, but I want to go back to Mrs. Bethune. I knew Mrs. Bethune. I know you find that interesting. When I was a young kid, I lived with my Aunt Mabel in Daytona Beach. So I went to elementary school on the campus, Kaiser Laboratory School. And Mrs. Bethune's niece was my 5th grade teacher. So while we were at this elementary school, we would go over to Mrs. Bethune's house and sit around her and listen to her.
Outstanding.
Yes.
That is an amazing story. The chapter here, Fort Myers Alumni chapter, many people, sorority sisters, have come from out of town, have also come through that chapter over the last 20 years. So just looking back, would you say it's been at least 500 people have come through that chapter over the last 50 years or more in one form or fashion?
Or more,
Yeah,
yes.
because I was going to say 1,000.
Could be,
Right,
could be.
because they come in, they might get employment here, and they join the sorority and get
Yes.
connected to the community, right?
Yes.
Speaking of that, Lee, also our chapter, the members of our chapter, a number of them are initiated into Delta Sigma Theta through Fort Myers Alumni.
Alumni.
Not every Delta pledges the sorority in college.
Right.
We have a number of members of our chapter right now
Right.
who were initiated here at Fort Myers Alumni through the leadership of our past presidents or Accord and some of the other
I
ladies
see.
that you will learn a lot about.
But it's not easy to get into your sorority, is it? You have to have a certain standards and so
Oh,
on.
yeah.
We'll go right here with that.
Oh, I tell you, listening, sometimes I have to shake my head. So much has changed with the national headquarters in policies and rules and regulations.
Give us a little tidbit, like back 50 years ago, blah, 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 now, blah, blah, blah. A change that you may have noticed.
Well, I'm thinking about when my niece Constance made a Delta. I started in March and at Bethune-Cookman, and I didn't go over until December. It only took her a week.
One of those stories. Of
So it's faster.
All right. I like everybody to know when I pledged Sigma, I pledged for 2 years.
Oh dear.
And I had to walk up a mountain in snow, and I'm just trying to add some stuff to it. I just wanted to slide in that little Sigma thing.
Yes.
Got that in. When you look at the current alumni chapter compared to when you guys were chartering the chapter, does it still sort of, sometimes you have to pinch yourself and say, I can't believe it's been here 50 years and all these things have come to pass?
Absolutely. It's just amazing. You look back on time and you say to yourself, where did the time go?
Right.
And you talk about the impact of our charter members on the community as well as our recent sorors. Speaking of one of our past, she's deceased now, Soror Ida Speed Baker was one of our charter members. Influence in the community, Baker High School, named after her.
The Ida Baker Center.
Ida Baker High is named after Ida Speed Baker. And a good memories that I have, you hadn't asked me this yet, but it just came to my mind. I was new in Fort Myers and I got a ride with Soror Baker to school every morning because we lived on the same street. So she was very impressive, and that's what Deltas do. They impress other people.
Right.
Excellent.
I like to say something about Mrs. Baker. I know Marie was saying that she wanted to be a Delta because of you. I wanted to be a Delta because Mrs. Baker, because she was my English teacher in high school at Dunbar High School. So it is just interesting how you, as a young person, are impressed. So when I went to Bethune-Cookman, I knew exactly the sorority I was going to pledge.
Now we go down Michigan Avenue, we see a Delta house, right?
Yes.
Back in the day, tell us where did you guys meet? Where was your location? Were you in somebody's bedroom, in the kitchen? Things have changed since then.
Oh,
Go
yes.
ahead.
Oh, I have a story about that because you know what? I can really visualize us meeting at Soror Accord's house. Wow. I can see us, each person, where each Soror was sitting. We would have those meetings on Saturdays. So now we have a Delta house where we meet. Progress, yes.
And social media exists now, cell phones, all that stuff.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Are you guys able to keep up with the current, dipsy doodle of the younger, technology and all of that?
Oh, we have nieces and nephews, so
Okay.
We're aware of that.
There are things
And
that
the
they do-
younger sorors are very
Oh,
sophisticated
yes.
with
We
technology.
don't know some of the things that they do. Sora Accord mentioning when I was on probation, we used to walk across Bethune-Cookman's campus with a
really?
duck under our arm quacking. They don't do that anymore. I'm not sure what the younger
Oh,
people
yes,
do
we did that.
these days.
Those things are,
They were
that was
fun.
kind of like hazing. Like it's out, it's
Well, we
taken
don't-
away, walking the yard.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore.
So, ladies, it's been a pleasure having you both here. Certain people at home, John, stay right there. People at home want to see what's on those shirts. So let's just have you hold that shirt up for a second. And why don't you describe what we're looking at on that shirt?
Well, it is our 50 years legacy shirt. It has 50 years and more. Delta Sigma Fort Myers Alumnae chapter.
Now, who,
And you'll notice the big 50
Oh,
in
yes,
bold.
The
for
big
the
50.
50.
The big 50, and our local chapter, this is our logo, and we inscripted the big 50, the big 50, and if you notice, we
our
have our
pins.
50-year
Yes,
pins.
excellent. Now, who can wear those? Like the non-50s, I see Kathy Bruno has a shirt on, so all the members of the sorority can wear that shirt, or just the people who are charter members?
We all have the shirt.
Okay.
We all have the shirt. We had our retreat a couple of months ago, and we all dressed up in this shirt with our red blazers.
All right, looking good.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure to have you on the show, and I'm just glad we are able to document this history, and we look forward to 50 more years of outstanding community service from Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Alumni Chapter here in Lee County. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
For those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like the fine women of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority who are doing it. We'll see you next week on Lee Pitts Live.
Lee Pitts Live is a Lee Pitts Enterprise production.